The future is bright indeed. We're all of us dreaming of the better days ahead, and a part of your bright new future could be a move to where the magic lives in the greater Orlando area of Florida. One of the biggest decisions you'll make when considering a move is selecting a realtor who can successfully match you with the right home in the right location at the right price. Victor Naraki is the realtor who can help you make the move you've always wanted to. Whether you're a first-time homeowner or looking to move near Disney World, Victor is in your corner. If you are looking for an experienced real estate agent covering all of Central Florida, please visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today and find out just why you should work with Victor. I encourage you to create a free, no-obligation account on his website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to your email. Visit DisneyAtYourDoorstep.com today or visit his Facebook page, Victor Naraki Realtor. And don't forget to tell him the Grand Circle Tour podcast sent you.
Left for dead on the sands of Tatooine. I am Boba Fett.
Tamora Morrison is an incredible actor. He's an incredible presence. What he brings to the performance of Boba is just awesome.
Tim, he brings all sides of himself when he plays the character. And I think the audience is going to be surprised just how likable this character is because of Tim.
I intend to rule with respect.
It was an exciting comeback. It's wearing that armor. It gives you a sense of power. Yeah, I'm just one part. Another little small cog in the machine, and it's all adding up to magic.
Rising Suns, and welcome to another edition of, what is it? It's a roundtable discussion of the Book of Bantha. No, the Book of Boba Fett.
The Bantha of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett. There was a lot of Bantha in this one. Yeah. Called Book of Bantha. Joining me today are my two favorite co-hosts from down south and a little bit west. Scott Clark, welcome aboard. And how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Stan. How about you?
I am amazing, but you already knew that. Also joining me to my left is Mission Commander Justin. Justin, how are you today? Welcome aboard.
I am fantastic as always, Stan.
Right on. So, what we're doing? Chapter 4. What was this one called again?
The Gathering Storm.
The Gathering Storm. Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Sounds ominous.
Justin, did you like this one?
You know, I really appreciated a lot of what of the answers that we kind of got about how Boba Fett kind of got together with Fennec and some of that. We saw hints of that in The Mandalorian. Now we get a little bit more of that backstory. I really appreciated it. I enjoyed a lot of this one.
How about you, Scott?
No, I agree. I like this one. It filled in a lot of the holes of Boba Fett's story over this and The Mandalorian season 2, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really like this one. This one could have been called the Book of Answers.
Yeah.
Gave us a lot of answers in this one. We're going to get into those right away. So if you haven't seen this one, spoiler alert! You might want to pause it, go watch it, and then come back. I'm pretty sure you guys already watched the show if you're listening to us, anyways. So this one starts off right in the back of tank. There was no delay. They went right into the back of tank. So we know right off the hop we're going to be getting a flashback. You know, we're used to this already.
In fact, my first question right at that moment was, are we even going to get present day stuff? Are we going to just have all flashbacks since we're starting there this time?
Yeah, I kind of was wondering the same thing. How about you, Scott?
No, I did. And to be honest with you, I enjoyed the flashback scene. This scene in this episode and all the previous episodes. So I enjoyed it where it started out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. So we start off with Boba Fett riding a Bantha through the desert. He's heading towards the palace. He's checking out the palace. He tells the Bantha, not today, there's too many guards. Like, is he going to go charging the palace with riding a Bantha? Not today, girl. too many guards. I liked how the Bantha was wagging its tail. Like they're.
I understand from one of the videos I was watching earlier that that's a full-blown puppet that they created.
Yeah.
I could have told you that. I know a
Yeah.
puppet when I see one. Yeah. There wasn't an elephant covered in yak hair. Like
Like the original. Yeah.
the original. So he's sitting there with the Bantha, and off in the distance he sees these two flares, and my mind immediately went to, we've seen those flares before at Tatooine, and I couldn't quite place it.
Well, to give you a hint though, the music at that point did that.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
I heard that recorder, and once I heard that recorder, I'm like, that's Fennec's flares. I caught it right away. And that one note of the recorder that they did.
And that was just enough of a clue to go, oh, now I know where that's from.
Yeah. So that's when the title sequence came up, Gathering Storm. So he gets her, and it's Fennec, of course. And he takes her to like a seedy tattoo parlor. A Star Wars version of a tattoo parlor.
Yep, the mods.
The mods.
The Mos Eisley mod parlor.
The Lois Eisley.
The Mos Eisley mod parlor.
Mod parlor. That's what the official name was?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. And I know some people were complaining about how these mods are not Star Wars. I was reading online too, but this doesn't feel like Star Wars. It totally feels like Star Wars.
What was Darth Vader made out of? He was half machine. Luke Skywalker had a hand that was machine.
Anakin had a hand after the first one or the second one he got robotic hand. I know, like it's totally into the Star Wars universe. I didn't understand people whining.
Yeah, the only real difference is these people aren't really trying to hide it. They're trying to show it off a bit more.
Yeah.
Well, and it sounds like from the looks of it, it looks like they're trying to modify themselves. So from my impression of it is like they don't even have to have an injury, and I think they're just going out and modifying themselves.
Yeah, I mean it's their version of a tattoo, basically.
Yeah,
that's what I was referring to. Yeah, that's what it's like a tattoo parlor.
You know, he even says or piercing. Oh, I think we lost our Stan all of a sudden.
Bad internet connection.
That sort of thing can happen. What I was going to ask was,
it's been a day.
So, does this give us any insight into why Boba Fett was so willing to team up with the Apple Dumpling Gang last episode? Because he was working with modders all the way back here when he had them work on Fennec Shand.
Excellent. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, neither did I. Good catch.
Yeah, good catch for sure. So he pays the mod guy, the tattoo guy, whatever you want to call him, to save Fennec. He says, "You need to save her. Yeah, she's gonna die." And he hears money. And he didn't want to do it at first. He's like, "You're too old." And he goes, "Oh well, you should have said that at first." And was he referring to that she was going to die, or because he was getting paid?
Probably that it was getting paid. You should have led with that.
Yeah.
That was my takeaway anyway, that he was like, oh, there's money involved. Well, all right then.
Yeah. So he installs some pistons, wires, tubing, lights, springs, and she's good to go. Take her away. She's done. He brings her back to the middle of the desert for some reason. It was kind of like, was that the same place he found her?
You know, I was wondering that as well because it looked so similar, but then again, it's a desert. All places look that way.
Yeah.
It was rock and sand everywhere.
Unless there's a Sarlaac pet around or a crate dragon, it all looks the same to me.
Yeah. So he wakes up and he tells her who she is. Like she didn't know. You're assassin Fennec Shan.
I think it was just to let her know that he knows who she is. But yeah.
Well, that being said, I think I like that. You know, they got their reputations and they know who each other are.
Yeah.
You know, like when he jumped forward just a little bit, you know, I'm Boba Fett. And he's like, no, Boba Fett's dead. So everybody knows who they are, especially if you're one of the premier bounty hunters,
Yeah,
or their reputation precedes themselves.
which is awesome. Which is
Yep.
awesome that they have that reputation. So she even knew who he was. Like he says, "I'm Boba Fett." She goes,
Mhm.
"You're dead, dude. You're not- aren't you dead?" But I like how he said like you're master assassin Fennec Shan of the mid rim, and I was waiting for him to say, "And you were shot in the midriff." I was waiting for him to finish off the sentence.
Had this been an MCU movie, he totally would have.
Yeah, for sure. So he tells her basically the last 3 chapters of flashbacks that we got in like 2 sentences. He basically, I fell into a Sarlaac pit. I dug my way out. I got rescued by the Tusken Raiders, and I became part of their tribe, and they were all wiped out. He tells her that like in no time at all. Like, why did we watch this for 3 hours? We could have just
You could have just summarized it.
summarized it in no time at all.
Another thing that I had pointed out to me is that he specifically called them Sand People. And she's the one who referred to them as Tuskens when she said that she didn't believe that a gang of bikers would have been able to wipe out a gang of Tuskens.
That's a good point. I wanted to bring that up. Now, we always grew up like the Tusken Raiders were very vicious creatures and something to be feared. And that's the way Fennec Shan perceives the Sand People or the Tusken Raiders. Was this tribe a more gentle tribe, you think?
I don't know. She seemed to have a lot of respect for their ability to fight, though.
And they know they had one really good fighter.
Yeah.
But the rest of them didn't seem to be.
No, and I think you're going to find tribes being different, whether they're more violent or more friendlier. But that being said, with Fennec Shan, when she was surprised that Nikto gang took them out. So I'm wondering if like the Pikes got involved and kind of framed them.
I was wondering that as well. If that was something like that, whether it's the Pikes or the Hutts or whoever, that someone, and probably the Pikes, but tried to
someone set them up.
Basically, made it look like they had done it.
Oh, could be.
But someone with more firepower, as it were, than the speed bikers would be, because that I tend to believe Fennec Shan when she says about anything.
Yeah. And the Pikes kind of have a vendetta on these Tusken Raiders because of what happened on the train heist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So they'd have a reason, and they'd have, a convenient scapegoat to frame, hoping that Boba Fett does exactly what Boba Fett does.
Yeah, good point. So he basically tells her, "I saved you. You owe me. We're gonna go get my fire spray gunship." Have we ever heard the Slave One ever referred to as fire spray gunship?
Well, it's the type of ship.
Yeah, the model.
It's like, the type of ship, like calling it an A-wing or a Y-wing or an X-wing or something like that. It's a fire spray ship.
Okay, but have we ever heard that
giving
before?
it the name. And
I've never heard that before.
I don't think I've heard it either.
I don't think we've heard it like on screen necessarily, but it's something that it's one of those things that's probably somewhere. It's on Wikipedia.
I checked
like
Wikipedia and it's not on Wikipedia.
Like that.
No, I checked Wikipedia on it because I was wondering about this. I've never ever heard this term before, this name before. So I checked Wikipedia, and there's like 100 listings, but none of them had anything to do with Boba Fett's ship, or any ship really, as far as that goes.
It's a Fire Spray 31 class patrol and attack craft.
Okay, so there is now. But there wasn't
now.
There wasn't on Wednesday when the show came out. There wasn't Wednesday morning. And they had a thing, did you want to open a page for fire? It said on that Wikipedia, I could create a page about the fire spray gunship if I wanted to. So
it's a patrol ship manufactured by Kuat Systems Engineering. They were used to guard and patrol the prison moon Oval 4. I mean, they found all sorts of stuff here.
So Comic Book Man made up a bunch of stuff, is what you're saying. It's a gunship from the Mediterranean system. So anyway, she says, "I'll help you find your ship, but then our debt is paid. I'll stick together with you for that, and then after that, we're going our separate ways." So back at the palace, so they go back at the palace there, and Fennec and Boba are making a plan to get into their ship back, and they can't tell how many guards there are. So Fennec opens up the butt of her gun and pulls out a Quidget ball with lights on it. Sets it free.
Quidditch? Is that the word you're looking
Quidditch?
for?
It's from Harry
Quidditch?
Potter.
Yep,
Whatever
Quidditch.
they call those. Yeah. What is the one's tiny ball called? The snipe or the snip? I don't know. Harry Potter.
The snitch.
The snitch.
Snitch.
There it is. Yeah. So she pulls out a snitch ball and has a camera on it. And some. Why does it have lights on it?
So it could get
It has
caught
the thing
later
too.
down the road when it's dark.
What's that,
I
Scott?
don't know. So they could catch it when it gets dark.
so that the people it's spying on can see it.
Yes.
It's obviously meant for spying. It's like a drone, right?
Yeah.
It also makes a whistling sound too. So maybe it's not intentionally made for spying. Maybe she could put a little bit of electrical tape over top of the lights. So this thing flies around and it basically makes a map of the palace and kind of shows like where the guards are and where the ship is, and it's in a garage somewhere. So
Yeah, it gives them like this nice little 3D hologram, which was kind of a nice effect. I like that visual effect that they did of that. I thought it looked really cool.
And
Well,
we've seen those before. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, then also too, we're seeing the other side of the palace too. This is the back side of it. 'Cause if you notice, the door doesn't drop down. It literally comes from the floor up.
From the floor, yeah.
Yeah, so we're seeing the back side of the palace.
Yeah, which is kind of cool.
The
to
parking garage, as it were.
Yeah, the garage in the back as a back lane for parking. It doesn't have a front drive. So he sets the Bantha free, and gives him Bantha starts licking him and whatnot. They didn't do any gaffy stick teeth cleaning at all they did in Mandalorian. I was waiting for him to at one point use his gaffy stick to clean the Bantha's teeth. So Fennec tells Fennec that he is going to find his armor after he gets the ship back. She says, "What's next?" Like after this, so he's gonna go after his armor after this. And then he starts talking about Bib Fortuna double crossed him.
Yeah, we've never got a real good explanation about that, have we? I mean, what did Bib Fortuna do to him exactly?
Yeah,
Maybe
Like
put
what-
him on that barge ship at the end of, or the beginning of Return of the Jedi, knowing that something was going to happen. I don't know.
No, but Jabba hired him to come on the ship. Like he was a paid bounty hunter to come on.
Yeah, but that being
protection.
said, though, Boba could have passed Han Solo along, and he could have been gone.
I don't know.
You know, he's a
There's
bounty
something
hunter.
missing. We're missing something. How did Bib Fortuna get off the sail barge? What happened that Boba Fett's blaming Bib Fortuna for what happened to him? And how did Max Rebo get off the sail barge?
Yeah. Well, from the looks of things, I think Bib Fortuna went to a buffet and was able to escape the ship.
Yeah.
He was on a different part of the sail barge.
Max Rebo, he was just out having a smoke break, like those things always do.
So they break into the palace, going through the sewers. That was a cool gadget. That little laser knife that cuts through metal like nothing.
Now that
Took a-
was pretty cool, but my only problem with that is cutting through the grates. Is like no wonder Krrsantan was able to get in there, and it's like, doesn't this palace get guarded? How would you let him get into that grate area like that? You got two huge giant doors on this place that no one could get into, but you got this little grate, like a sewer grate or whatever. To me, that didn't make sense.
Like at least Jabba had that Ring doorbell that came out with like, on a stick with the eye.
Yeah.
At least Jabba had that.
Someone to at least keep an eye on the front door.
Yeah.
Someone had to say it, Stan. Someone had to say it.
So they get into the palace through the kitchen, and what were the two droids there? There was like a sous chef that was an EV9.
That was an EV droid, but I think someone was saying it's probably not the same one because we decided that one was over at the bar in Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
So that's not the same one that we saw in Return of the Jedi. That was the one that's over in Mos Eisley tending bar.
I thought it was the same one. That didn't Jabba have one in the dungeon, an EV9?
Mm-hmm. Yes, but we've also seen an EV9 tending bar in Mos Eisley in The Mandalorian. So he can't be both this one and that one. So one of them has to be him, but we don't know which one for sure, I guess.
Well, this would have been before Mandalorian, though, because this is a flashback. Anyways, I just pictured that Boba Fett, or that Bib Fortuna, once he became the crime lord, he's like, I don't want any more droids patrolling. I just want them cooking for me. I just want them making me food. I don't need a torture droid. I don't need a dungeon droid. They need to be making food instead. So he gets to his. Oh, so then that what was that little rabbit droid?
Oh, I forgot the name of him.
It's a LEP servant droid.
Yes.
Okay.
So he comes in. He comes in carrying a net. He's supposed to be a rat catcher. He's holding a net. Like he's like some dog catcher from a 60s cartoon.
Well, I mean, what else is he going to do?
Well, he could have had a gun and shoot the rats. I just cracked up. And now all three of these droids have got to be puppets.
You know, it's hard to say, but I would say, like, at least at points they almost have to be. I mean, they can't be all CGI.
Yeah. I mean, like, you grab them by the neck.
There's going to be a combination with that, but they can't be all CGI because, like that little one in particular, when he's being held up against the wall and such. I mean, it's a little too much of a practical effect.
Well, even the one with the 6 arms, when Fennec grabs its neck and then cuts the head off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think with the spinning arms, that might be either CGI or they, like what they did on the other episode with that the train droid. They slowed the framing up on it to make it look a lot faster and fluid. So maybe they might have did that with that cook droid.
Yeah, like I say, I think it's ultimately going to turn out to have been kind of a combination of some practical and some CGI.
I think 100% puppets is what I'm thinking. So they get to the ship. Now they had time to get on the ship before the guards came. What were they waiting for? They hear the guards coming, so they hide around the corner. And then the two Gomorians come and they make short work of them, and then a whole bunch of more guards came. And so Boba Fett makes a break for the ship. She says, "Go to the ship. I'll cover you." They could have been in that ship before they got there. And so, anyways, the scene where he's turning the ship around. I guess they drove it in and parked it, and they never had to turn it around before because it was not going to fit. It was not going to turn around without hitting something. Like there was no room for it to turn around without smashing something. Was that what? That was kind of an interesting sort of thing going on there because how are you planning to get it out? You got it in there somehow. Yeah. Like I could drive my car into my garage and I could back my car to my garage, but I can't turn my car around in my garage.
Yeah.
Well, unless there was some other stuff that got put in there. Because my thing is this: if that ship was in there for 4 or 5 years, but they didn't take it out and go for a spin on it or anything like that in the last 4 or 5 years that it was sitting in there,
and the battery was still charged.
Yeah.
Still fired up.
Or they keep it for a trophy.
Yeah. So they, and what's 4 or 5 years? So what is the timeline? Because he says it was like years.
Well, from what I've seen, I think it's 5 years.
from the time he was in the Sarlaac pit.
Mandalorian was
Yeah.
5 years after the events of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, so this would be 5 years then, because with this episode, it's catched up with Mandalorian now.
Right.
Yes.
So, and that one was like 9 ABY versus 4 ABY for Return of the Jedi. So it's a 5-year gap or 5-year difference. So
Yeah.
that suggests that he's been, with the Tuskens and or on his own afterwards for a total of 5 years before he came across Fennec.
Yeah. Okay. That seems like a long time. It doesn't feel like it was that long when watching the show.
It doesn't, because it seems like it wouldn't take him that long to get that proficient with, fighting with a gaffy stick and
Yeah.
and some of that. I mean, just
Yeah. So, anyways, he gets his ship back, and of course, the first thing he does, he looks for those speeder guys that he thinks killed the Tusken Raiders, which they probably were the ones, and just slaughters them, just shoots them from the sky, no questions asked.
Yeah.
And none of them were smart enough to fan out. You know
not
what I
a
mean? Like,
single one of them.
they all keep going, like they're on the highway or something.
Well, that being said, it happened in a matter of seconds. It wasn't
True.
like he chased after him for a while.
Yeah.
As soon as he caught up
One
to
would
him,
go
man,
left,
he let
one would
loose.
go right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't get a chance to think much about it. So then he goes to the Sarlaac pit looking for his armor. Did he not
So
watch
there's a
chapter
couple
1?
of things about that confused me, and of course the first one is what I'm sure you're asking as well, is like, how does he not know he had his armor on when he was getting out of there? Did he lose some of his memory when he was being digested?
Yeah, the only thing I could think of, maybe he's like asphyxiated coming out of that Sarlaac pit with all that acid and all that, and just not knowing what he was doing.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like he had lack of oxygen because he had to use the stormtrooper's oxygen surplus. He had dug his way out. He was unconscious. He got beat up, like knocked unconscious again by the Jawas. So he probably doesn't remember the Jawas being there at all.
Yeah.
So the last thing he remembers where he had his armor was in the Sarlaac pit.
Yeah.
But what made him think that he thought it was a good idea for him to take his armor off and climb out of the Sarlaac pit without it?
Yeah, how did he think he got out if
If he didn't have his
then
armor?
leave
Exactly.
the armor behind?
Yeah, it just didn't add up.
So it's like that was so confusing to me why he thought it would be there.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing, when you're taking Slave One and looking right straight down the Sarlaac pit, what did they think wasn't going to happen?
Yeah, I know. Eh? Like they get like inches away from the opening.
Yeah.
Well, and on top of that, all of the jets, as it were, are behind them now. How are they even